Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today, I have a story that proves sometimes the greatest love stories begin where everyone else believes they should end. It's a story about loss, courage, second chances, and one simple sentence that changed 4 lives forever. So sit back, relax, and let's begin. I still remember the first time I saw her. It wasn't in a romantic place or during some magical moment. It was outside an elementary school on a cold autumn afternoon. Parents stood chatting while children laughed and ran across the playground. But she stood alone. She held the hands of 2 little girls while a young boy leaned against her side. The oldest couldn't have been more than 10. The youngest looked around 5. Their clothes were clean but worn, and their backpacks had been repaired more than once. What caught my attention wasn't her beauty, though she was beautiful in a quiet, natural way. It was the exhaustion in her eyes. The kind that sleep could never fix. She smiled whenever her children looked at her. The moment they looked away, the smile disappeared. Over the next several weeks, I kept seeing them. Every afternoon. Always walking home. One rainy evening, I noticed they were standing under a bus stop shelter, completely soaked. The buses had stopped because of flooding downtown. I pulled over. I rolled down the window. Need a ride? She immediately stepped back. No, thank you. Her son instinctively stood in front of his sisters. It wasn't fear. It was protection. I respected it. I'm not trying to bother you, I said. I live 3 blocks from Maple Street. I pass that way anyway. The little girl looked up. Mom, my shoes are wet. The mother looked at the sky, then at her children. Finally she nodded. Only because of them. During the drive nobody spoke much. The children quietly thanked me when we reached their small rental house. Before getting out, the youngest smiled. Bye, mister. It was the brightest smile I'd seen all week. I didn't expect to see them again. But life had other plans. A month later I volunteered at a community food drive. Guess who was there? She was helping organize donations. Not receiving them. Helping. Even though I later learned she was struggling herself. That's when I introduced myself properly. Her name was Emma. She had been widowed 3 years earlier after her husband died in a construction accident. Everything changed overnight. Medical bills. Funeral expenses. A mortgage she couldn't keep. She lost the family home. Most of her friends slowly disappeared. Some relatives stopped calling. People always promised to help. Very few actually did. Yet somehow she never stopped putting her children first. Over the next year our friendship grew naturally. Sometimes I'd help carry groceries. Sometimes I'd fix something around the house. Sometimes we'd simply drink coffee while the kids played in the yard. She never asked for anything. Not once. Do you think my mom smiles when she's alone? I didn't know how to answer. Because I wasn't sure. Emma had built walls around herself so high that even happiness seemed afraid to climb over them. Months passed. Our friendship slowly became something deeper. I found myself looking forward to every conversation. The children began greeting me with hugs. The little boy insisted I help him build model airplanes every Saturday. The youngest started calling me her favorite grown-up. Emma noticed. She also noticed the way I looked at her. One evening after putting the children to bed, we sat quietly on the front porch. The stars were beginning to appear. She stared into the darkness. Then, almost too softly to hear, she whispered. No one marries a widow with 3 kids. Her voice carried years of disappointment. Years of rejection. Years of believing she wasn't enough. She continued. Men want fresh starts. They don't want someone else's unfinished story. They don't want responsibility. They definitely don't want 3 children. For several seconds I didn't speak. I simply looked at her. Then I smiled. They haven't met you. She turned toward me. Confused. I reached for her hand. They see labels. I see courage. They see baggage. I see a woman who fought every day to keep her family together. They see 3 children. I see 3 incredible reasons to wake up smiling every morning. Tears immediately filled her eyes. I've changed, she whispered. I'm not who I used to be. I know. And I love the woman you've become. She cried harder than I'd ever seen. Not because she was sad. Because someone had finally seen her instead of her circumstances. We didn't rush anything. Love doesn't always need speed. Sometimes it simply needs honesty. Over the following months I became more involved in the children's lives. School projects. Soccer games. Birthday parties. Homework disasters. Burned pancakes. Movie nights. The little moments became our greatest memories. One Saturday afternoon, while helping her son repair his bicycle, he suddenly asked, "If you married Mom?" I froze. "So, would that make you my dad?" I looked at him carefully. "Only if that's something you'd want." He stared at the ground. Then quietly said. I had to blink away tears before answering. "I'd be honored." The girls overheard everything. Seconds later all 3 children wrapped their arms around me. Emma watched from the porch. She covered her mouth. She was crying again. Months later I planned something simple. Nothing extravagant. No expensive restaurant. No fancy vacation. Just the park where we'd first really talked. The children helped organize everything. The oldest carried the ring. The middle daughter held flowers. The youngest practiced saying, "Don't forget to say yes." When Emma arrived she immediately realized something was happening. The children surrounded her. Her son smiled. "Mom. You deserve to be happy." I knelt down. Looked into her eyes. And said, "I don't want to rescue you. You already rescued yourself. I don't want to replace anyone. No one ever could. I simply want to spend the rest of my life loving you and the 3 amazing children who made me realize what family truly means." She couldn't even speak. She simply nodded through tears. The youngest shouted. She said yes. Strangers started clapping. A few people wiped away tears. It felt like the entire world had paused just long enough to celebrate hope. Our wedding wasn't expensive. There were no crystal chandeliers. No celebrity guests. No luxury ballroom. Just family. Friends. Neighbors. And 4 people standing beside me who had completely changed my life. During the ceremony the officiant asked if I accepted Emma as my wife. "I do," I answered without hesitation. Then he surprised everyone. He turned toward the children. "And do you promise to love, protect, and support these 3 children as your own?" I looked directly at them. "I already have." The guests burst into applause. Even the photographer had tears running down his face. Years have passed since that day. Life still isn't perfect. We still argue over whose turn it is to wash dishes. The dog still steals food from the table. Homework still creates chaos. Money still requires careful planning. But our home is full of laughter. Real laughter. The kind that echoes through every room. The oldest daughter recently graduated with honors. She told everyone during her speech that she learned resilience from her mother and unconditional love from the man who chose to become her father. The youngest still believes pancakes taste better when I accidentally burn them. And my son, because that's exactly who he is now, still loves building model airplanes with me every Saturday. People sometimes ask whether I was nervous about marrying a widow with 3 children. I always smile. Because they still don't understand. I wasn't taking on someone else's burden. I was receiving life's greatest blessing. The truth is, families aren't always created by blood. Sometimes they're built by choice. By patience. By kindness. By showing up every single day. Emma once believed no one would ever marry a widow with 3 kids. She believed her story had already reached its ending. But endings have a funny way of becoming beginnings when the right person walks into your life. Sometimes all it takes is one sentence. They haven't met you. If this story touched your heart, remember that everyone deserves a second chance, and love doesn't care about the chapters that came before. It only cares about the story you're willing to write together. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share this story with someone who still believes hope is waiting around the next corner. Until next time, take care of yourselves, be kind to one another, and never underestimate the power of seeing someone's worth when the rest of the world only sees their past.